think when we look at what data has told us in the past, is that for a lot of companies, the climate transition and any elements that are part of the social transition, such as human rights, gender equality, it has been different work streams. It's not been part of an integrated thinking. And this is what we want, what we intend with our Just Transition approach, that we really start by saying what basic social elements do we believe that you need to include from being a good corporate citizen, and then on top of that, to make sure that if you talk about your decarbonization plans in this example, what is it that you have, what you need to think around, what is the impact of these plans on your workers, your communities, but how do you also work towards creating more green and decent jobs? And how do we make sure that companies take responsibilities, like I said, for the assets that they currently have and deploy? So how do we make sure that there is this integrated thinking? And we see that trend coming. I see that in the recent dialogues I had with quite a few companies, where initially, I think a year ago, we reached out and say, can we speak about social indicators? They said, oh, that's in a different building and even a different department, we don't know. And now we see that there's a joint up dialogue, not by everyone yet, but we see there's a trend that companies understand that this has to be integrated thinking. So what we will do this year is at COP, we will look at these 180 companies in the oil and gas, electric utilities and automotive sector, and provide an insight into these industries on where we see that they are at with their Just Transition thinking. This is not going to be a full benchmark, but this is going to really show, okay, what is it that we expect these companies to do next year when they think about their reporting? We also have feedback from companies that says, yeah, but we do this, but we never thought of including that in our reporting cycle. So can we share that information with you? And we definitely want to encourage these companies to start thinking about including this in their reporting cycle to, like you said, share best practices and understand how this can also be a learning for other companies in their industry. Be that one that, you know, dares to lead almost, right? I think there is still a little bit of a hesitancy, and in terms of, and I've seen this in my previous career as well, it's like there's always a question on how vulnerable do you dare to be in order to honestly say, I don't know the answer to this, but how do I get the relevant expertise and information in order to get comfortable making the decision? And for me, is the people that join your program, they are willing to be more ambitious and they are hopefully not afraid of maybe getting different perspectives. It's not about us all agreeing, but it's also about being open to maybe an unexpected opinion or a dialogue that may change your perspective on things. So for me is that, and I would also say, hopefully you can bring that then back, that critical voice back to your own boards to say, do we indeed have the right expertise to transition? What is it that we need? And if not, then identify that gap and don't be afraid to invite new expertise to that. And I know that sounds easy, but I've seen this before, is that invite also stakeholders. That don't be afraid to invite, you know, a wide range of stakeholders to give their perspective on what your role, what your business role in society has to be. I think that's often forgotten, and I see that as a missed opportunity, is open up, be vulnerable, share learnings. And also, we all know that the private sector cannot do this alone, right? This is a massive role to play, but embrace the responsibility that you have, lead the way, and don't wait for someone else to lead you. That would be my message.